Hi again, good people. It's me, Victoria, back with the second part of my book. That is Who Moved My Cheese by Johnson Spencer. As I mentioned, it's not such a big book, but really interesting at the same time. So I had done part one and just give you a brief of what the book is all about. Like it talks mainly about change. And as I mentioned, this is something you live with like every other day. So I mentioned about the four characters who are in this maze and there's some cheese and they wake up one day, there's no cheese. So what next? Each one of them reacted differently and took different steps. And just to remind you, the writer who is Johnson Spencer uses mm, the maize and the cheese as a metaphor, and the book itself is a parable. And something maybe I didn't mention earlier, this book starts when friends meet and they just start to talk about life after school, has it been, the changes and all that. So on to the next part. The first two characters, that is Sniff and Scurry, decide to move. They find new cheese and they are enjoying. Then Ho is a bit hesitant, but him, makes a decision even though he was adamant, makes a decision and moves. So Ho finally sees the writings on the walls and follows them to where the new cheese is. Finally, they get to that new station where there's some cheese and life is back to normal. Like they now have the cheese they have been having. Life is goes back to how it has been and even better. So what comes out in this book? The cheese. All of you know how expensive cheese can get. So the cheese represents the good things we have in life. That is the jobs we are looking for, the success we are always chasing, the careers, good payments, money, and all that. And everyone is in constant search of these things. They say happiness is ultimate for human beings, and each one of them is always chasing these things that I've just mentioned. That is the cheese. What is the maze? The maze is the society we live in, the society in which we search all these things. And you realize when change comes, as we search for these things, we get to respond differently. There's someone who, if they lose a job, which is that cheese, they'll be adamant to maybe go look for another job, they'll be discouraged, while another person will move quickly to look for another job or explore other opportunities. So I think this book really relates to our daily lives. And um, just like these characters go to new cheese, most of us are just to change and finally get these good things. But how fast do you move? And that is how what determines where and who is where in life. So that is all for this book. But when we meet for the third and the fourth part, I'll be taking you through the lessons for each character and also people to just get themselves. Who are you? Who are you, this person? How do you respond to change and where are you at in life? Thank you so much for being interested in my book and see you again for part three. Bye.